You were ready for a slow news day? Bolt fam, throw that idea out right now. 4 little breadcrumbs hit at once, and they all point to where the Chargers are headed next. An OC shortlist that could either unlock Herbert or keep this offense stuck in neutral. A trade idea that would split Bolt fam clean down the middle. A surprise interview that didn't have the usual hype trail behind it, and an AFC shockwave that might put a dream play caller on the table. You're not going to believe what we've got today, so get settled, tap like, and let's roll. Real question, which one of these decisions has you the most nervous right now? Because this is the moment where we learn if the Chargers are going to attack 2026 the right way, or just slap a new label on the same problems. Think back to when the games got tight, the offense felt heavy, predictable, like it didn't have that instant answer when things got messy. And that's not just play design talk for the sake of it. That's identity. That's what you're telling Justin Herbert every week. We're building this to help you, or good luck make it work. And behind the scenes, this offensive coordinator search has basically turned into a full menu. There are headline names, there are in-house options, there are names that get fans buzzing the second you say them out loud, and there are names that make Bolt fam grit their teeth. You can't hire off vibes alone. Whoever gets this job is going to set the tempo for the entire team, because under Harbaugh, the blueprint is pretty clear. Run with purpose, hit first, and let Herbert attack with leverage. Now, on top of the most talked about candidates, people outside the building keep tossing in bonus suggestions, like, hey, what about this guy? One analyst voted 2 profiles that could add physicality and bring some fresh thinking. Declan Doyle, who's been around an effective run game under Ben Johnson in Chicago, and Jim Bob Cooter, who was on Shane Steichen's staff in Indy when Jonathan Taylor had a monster season. Not exactly the trendy, splashy direction, but it's the kind of outside-the-box hire that can change how you script games week to week. But we also have to say the quiet part out loud. The Chargers' run game in 2025 wasn't really a run game. It was survival mode. There was a fundamental failure in how the interior offensive line came together. And then you add the injury issues, Rashawn Slater getting dinged up, Joe Alt battling through it, Mekhi Becton dealing with his own stuff, and even first-rounder Omarion Hampton not being fully right, and suddenly establish the run turns into a limping game plan. That's not how Harbaugh wants to live. So yeah, this coordinator hire isn't just X's and O's on a whiteboard. It's alignment, coaching staff and front office pulling the same direction. If the vision is run to support Herbert, then the roster investment has to match that vision. A new offensive mind can create a stronger run game with angles, motion, play action, and quick answers. But if the pieces don't fit, it's just talk. And nobody wants another year of talk. So let me toss it to you. Do you want the big headline name with instant cachet? Or a less flashy option who walks in with a crystal clear plan to fix the offense's identity? Because whoever they pick is going to tell us exactly what the franchise believes about the next phase of Herbert's prime. And while we're all still chewing on the OC decision, there's another reality that hits Chargers fans right in the gut. When the moment got biggest, this offense didn't have enough guys winning on the outside. It wasn't subtle. It was screaming at you. That wild card loss put it on a billboard. If you watched it, you felt it. And you know Herbert felt it too. The passing game stalled, windows disappeared, and every tough throw came with that familiar couch sigh like, man, again? The numbers are rough. In that game, the Chargers' top 4 wide receivers combined for just 97 yards. That's not a bad day. That's a ceiling problem. Keenan Allen is still a pro's pro. Ladd McConkey flashed. Quentin Johnston had his moments. Trey Harris tried to contribute. But when the defense tightened up, nobody separated. Nobody forced the secondary to panic. And once you can't threaten people consistently, the playbook shrinks fast. The offense gets predictable. Greg Roman took the blame for it. He's gone now. But the real question doesn't disappear. Does changing the coordinator fix everything by itself? And that's where this trade idea comes flying in, and you can already hear the fan base arguing about it. A Cowboys site tossed out a simple scenario. What if the Chargers solved the receiver problem with one aggressive move? The name they floated was George Pickens. After a couple of disappointing seasons in Pittsburgh, he went to Dallas and had a bounce-back year that's hard to ignore. Big production, no locker room drama, no off-field noise, and steady week-to-week impact. The kind of player who changes how a defense lines up before the snap. Now, stack that next to what the Chargers got this season, and yeah, it's a tough comparison. Pickens would have led the Bolts in everything. More catches than Allen, way more yards than McConkey, more touchdowns than Johnston. He walks in as the clear number one immediately, a guy who tilts coverages and creates space for everybody else. But it isn't cheap. The proposed price was the Chargers' first-round pick, 22nd overall, and a fourth-rounder. And that's where it turns into a real argument. Do you spend premium draft capital on a proven playmaker right now? Or do you hold the picks, take another swing on a young receiver, and hope the development finally hits? Some fans hear Pickens and go, do it, stop waiting. Other fans hear first-round pick and hit the brakes so hard you can hear it. Let me put it this way, Herbert's clock isn't paused. He needs real help, not just a promise. A true top target changes play calls, changes third and long, changes red zone options, and it makes the offense feel less like you're dragging a sled uphill. So I want you in the comments. Are you pushing the chips in for a real WR1, or are you staying conservative and betting on the draft again? Now, just when you think the day can't add another wrinkle, the Chargers made a move that flew under the radar, but it tells you a lot about where they might be leaning offensively. One day before the most anticipated interview of this whole process, they quietly added a name that wasn't getting buzz at all, Terrell. The team announced they interviewed him. No big leak, no drum roll, no hype machine. And honestly, that's exactly why it caught my eye. At first, a lot of fans had the same reaction. Who is this, and why is he suddenly in the mix with a list full of bigger names? But when you zoom out, it starts to click. Terrell has direct ties to Jim Harbaugh dating back to Stanford during Harbaugh's era there, and then he eventually joined him at Michigan as a graduate assistant. That's not random. And even if the name isn't famous, the resume is real. He's been in multiple NFL buildings in roles where you have to learn fast and solve problems quietly. Quality control, assistant work, the kind of behind-the-scenes coaching that doesn't get headlines. More recently, he made his mark as the passing game coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals. The team didn't light up the standings, but the league clearly liked what that offense was doing, because Arizona's offensive coordinator Drew Petzing just got hired by the Detroit Lions over Mike McDaniel. That's not a throwaway detail. Sit with that for a second. So in that context, Terrell doesn't look like a random dart throw. He looks like part of an offensive tree other teams are paying attention to. Now, compared to a fan favorite like McDaniel, he's not winning the public vote. He's not walking in with instant wow, but maybe that's the point, because the Chargers don't just need a new name. They need new ideas, a modern set of answers. And yeah, for a lot of Bolt fam, seeing older school options on the list has been pretty underwhelming. If Terrell ended up getting the job, it would be a mild upset compared to the former head coaches on that list, no doubt. But it would also signal the Chargers are willing to step away from the obvious and build something different around Herbert. The question is whether the fan base would have the patience for a less-known hire if the plan is sharp and the identity actually fits. And then we get to the part that could ripple into Los Angeles in a big way. Buffalo made a franchise-altering decision this morning. Head coach Sean McDermott was fired after 9 years, following a divisional round loss in Denver. He leaves with a 98-50 record, but the AFC playoffs kept being the wall the Bills couldn't climb with Josh Allen. And when that kind of move happens, it doesn't just shake one seat, it shakes the whole staff. Buffalo is keeping GM Brandon Beane, and he's now overseeing the coaching search with a promotion to president of football operations. Almost immediately, names started getting floated as possible replacements, and the Athletic's Diana Mersini dropped Brian Daboll as a possibility. Here's why that matters to us. Daboll is also scheduled to speak with the Chargers about the offensive coordinator opening. So all of a sudden, a candidate you're looking at for OC might get pulled into a head coaching conversation somewhere else. The board can change overnight, and you don't get a courtesy warning. And when one door swings, another one can open. If Buffalo's staff is in flux, then the status of their current coaches gets shaky too. And that brings up a name Chargers fans should at least be thinking about. Bills offensive coordinator Joe Brady. He's received some head coaching interest, but he could be on the move either way, with big changes happening in Buffalo. At minimum, he's the kind of coach you'd want in the conversation if you're trying to build a more efficient, modern offense around Herbert. In Brady's 2 full seasons as Bills OC, They've been the most efficient offense in the league. Combined 2024 and 2025, and Buffalo sits first in EPA per play at 0.165, with the Ravens next at 0.122. Yes, having an MVP-level quarterback helps, but what stands out is how Brady schemed around issues. Spread looks, pre-snap motion, screens, quick answers. That structure with Herbert, man, that's easy to imagine. You can question some situational play calling here and there, but it felt like he took the offense about as far as it could go with the injuries and personnel limitations they were dealing with. And there's history here too. Before hiring Brandon Staley, the Chargers interviewed Joe Brady for their 2021 head coaching vacancy when he was Carolina's OC. They interviewed him again in 2023 for their OC opening before hiring Kellen Moore. So this isn't some stranger being introduced out of nowhere. So yeah, nothing is locked in. But if the Chargers are casting a wide net, Brady is one of the big fish who could be available, because Buffalo just shook the entire league. And I'll ask you straight, if that opportunity is real, do you want the Chargers to go all in on it? Because none of these are isolated headlines. This is a snapshot of a franchise sitting at a fork in the road. The Chargers have to pick who designs the offense, decide whether to swing for a true WR1, weigh a new school idea versus a brand name, and stay alert when the league starts moving like this. And it all comes back to one guy, Justin Herbert. The talent is here. The window is here. The only question left is whether the organization is going to act with real conviction. So tell me, which of these decisions are you making right now, and which one worries you the most? Drop it in the comments. And if you're riding with this team, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and let's talk about it the way Bolt Fam always does. Loud, honest, and locked in.